3 months ago, Melanie Reid brought you a report on Bronwyn Puller and her battle with the ACC. To say it created waves would be an understatement. Afterwards, the corporation's chief executive, the chairman and 2 other board members all departed. Now Melanie has the story that Puller and a host of others wanted exposed. The story of ACC's exit strategy.
We actually want independent specialists, not just ACC's hatchetmen.
That's the view of Hazel Armstrong and many other lawyers, worried about how ACC is getting expensive long-term claimants off its books.
What we've seen over the last few years is ACC using what you could call tame doctors that will give them what they want.
ACC has been paying millions of dollars to select doctors. Doctors so select they're being flown all over New Zealand to do assessments. Why? We'll hear from an ACC insider who admits using preferred doctors because they provide the reports needed to get people off ACC. We'll investigate allegations that the corporation itself has the deck stacked so far in its favour that the long-term injured and other claimants stand little or no chance. Battling ACC for those claimants, Wellington solicitor Hazel Armstrong.
They will turn to their own pet assessors to give them the answers that they want.
Joining the stoush, another lawyer specialising in ACC cases, Phil Schmidt.
It doesn't matter about being right or wrong anymore.
From Otago, speaking out for the injured, Denise Powell.
I'm not sure the New Zealand public knows what's going on.
We'll hear from neurologist Dr Duplessis, one of ACC's top medical assessors.
Firstly, I don't steal the money, and secondly, I work hard for it.
And fronting for ACC, Dr Peter Jansen.
I'm just sorry, I don't have time.
Although not for long. The outpouring of grief and distress from New Zealanders over their treatment by ACC flooded into 60 Minutes following our last program, an expose featuring Bronwyn Puller, which included the rate in which long-term claimants were being knocked off ACC.
It was to bring the attention and the spotlight and the focus onto ACC and what they're doing. And they are taking advantage of vulnerable disabled New Zealanders, and they are actively, systematically taking people off one by one, and it's like lambs to the slaughter, and every time they go to an assessor, you're like a lamb off to the freezing works, your head's going to be chopped off and you're out on the scrap heap. And that's what's happening.
ACC's objective currently, in my view, is simply to cut difficult claims. ACC doesn't mind paying on straightforward claims, so if you have a cut or a bruise or need some surgery due to a broken bone, those matters are dealt with in a straightforward fashion. Complicated claims are expensive claims. People who have things like serious back injuries, serious head injuries, multiple injuries from car accidents, those persons are regarded as being complicated and costly claims, and they are the ones that are being targeted by ACC.
Lawyer Phil Schmidt works out of South Auckland, and he's been fighting for claimants for 10 years. He'll tell you, when it comes to the long-term injured, the medical assessment process is stacked.
Yes, they have favourite assessors.
And why have they got favourite assessors?
Those assessors become favourites because they're simply more likely to tell the case manager what they want to hear.
Which is?
Which more often than not is this person has a capacity to work.
And what, that person will be cut off, ACC?
Yeah, that's right. That is the report they are looking for.
So where exactly do these assessor reports fit in the scheme of things? Well, when ACC staff decide to review someone's case, the claimant is sent, along with their case file history, to a doctor for a medical assessment. A report is written for ACC, and the claimant's ongoing compensation pretty much hinges on that doctor's assessment report.
My view is that hundreds or thousands of those reports will be wrong.
With official information now in hand, 60 Minutes can tell you what ACC is paying some of its assessors or their companies. This doctor lives in a small South Island town. In the last 2 years, he's travelled around the country, Auckland, Wellington and throughout the south. He's seen between 600 and 1,000 ACC clients. In the corresponding 2-year time frame, ACC has paid him between $500,000 and $700,000.
If you have someone paying you huge amounts of money, I don't believe you can be objective about writing reports back. Now, they may believe they're objective. I think you can tell yourself that if it's in your financial interest to do so.
Really?
Well, look, everybody, do those doctors honestly think that they are objective? That they probably do. Do I believe they're objective? No.
In the past 2 years, this specialist was flown all over New Zealand, working anywhere between Kaitaia and Bluff. He saw between 600 and 1,000 ACC clients, and ACC has paid him between $800,000 and $1 million.
With this particular assessor, we've had several cases and we are deeply concerned about the diagnosis and his attitude to the claimant.
Another doctor, again from a small South Island town, frequented the North Island, as well as travelling to other South Island destinations. He saw between 650 and 1,150 ACC clients. He was paid between $650,000 and $1.15 million in the past 2 years.
The ACC goes to the same people time and time again, even though there might be another equally qualified person in the region. So I work out of Wellington, so my clients will be sent along to a doctor that's been flown in from Dunedin or flown down from Auckland, and you have to ask yourself, why is ACC using these people when there's a perfectly competent treatment provider in the region?
This Christchurch physician also worked well outside his region. In the last 2 years, he saw between 1,200 and 1,600 ACC clients, and he earned between $1.2 million and $1.4 million.
Dr. His nickname in ACC was the Terminator.
60 Minutes has spoken to ACC insiders. One, a senior staff member who specialised in long-term ACC claimants, has written us a report.
There are a number of specialists throughout New Zealand who are preferred, as provide reports which enable ACC to exit claimants. Mr. Dr. were some preferred, as had a higher incidence of writing reports needed to exit claimants.
Denise Powell is president of Acclaim Otago.
Acclaim Otago is a voluntary support group for injured people and their families who are dealing with ACC issues.
Up and down the country, you'll hear the same story.
What we see is a trend to using certain assessors, and those assessors sometimes are out of step with modern thinking, or they're assessing people in an area that they're not actually qualified to assess them in.
You can't be serious.
I'm dead serious.
Here's just a few examples. A woman was cut off ACC after an orthopaedic surgeon determined that her ongoing pain was caused by a personality disorder. So someone who treats the likes of bones, joints and tendons gives a psychiatric opinion. ACC knocked that woman off their books. An occupational physician, not a brain specialist, assessed a traumatic head injury claimant. ACC cut that person off. Another occupational physician reassessed a woman after a surgical misadventure. She too, off the books. Even more common, according to the claimant side of the battle, is what's known as assessment or doctor shopping.
People are sent to assessor after assessor after assessor until there is a report that says that, you know, this person's injury is spent or they're now able to work 30 hours or more a week. And so therefore it's referred to as doctor shopping around the ranks, and you know, eventually there will be somebody who says this person can work 30 hours or more a week.
So 4 assessments are done, 3 will say the person is still incapacitated and can't work. They'll go with the one assessment that says this person can work.
That's certainly what we see.
There's a powerful financial incentive to continue to seek reports that are favourable, and the way that you obtain favourable reports is you just keep sending them for assessments. And sooner or later a doctor is going to agree with you.
How can that be fair?
Well, it's not about fairness. It's the system. The courts have said you can't do it. You just can't keep referring people to different physicians until you get the answer that you want. But that practice just continues.
And what's even worse, according to Phil Schmidt, is ACC staff interfering with the assessor reports.
Many doctors will no longer do reports for ACC because they became frustrated with having to change their reports. Many doctors felt that...
So you're saying that ACC case managers are calling up doctors who have been engaged to write an independent report and asking them to change it?
That's what I believe is going on, and I've seen in writing situations where a doctor's given a report, ACC have said, or have you considered A, B and C? And the doctor holds to their conclusion. Then have you considered these 2 or 3 items? And in the end, you see the doctor changing their mind. And after a while, doctors get frustrated and they look, I just won't do the reporting.
So what does our insider say about this?
If specialists did not supply what was needed, they were either not used or were given feedback from ACC as to what was required in a report, or questioned by ACC about what they wrote.
They went on to say,
whilst the vocational and medical assessment processes are said to be independent, I do not believe they are. They are contracted to ACC to provide assessments and in a way structured to achieve ACC results. If they do not meet these requirements, specialists are guided by relationship managers or not used at all.
With a culture of profit-mindedness, there's going to be a natural selection process to find assessors that are more likely than not to tell you what you want to hear. And what we're seeing now is the end of that process.
And what does that mean for the claimants?
Well, it's disastrous because these people can't work, and many of them have very serious injuries and quite high levels of pain. And what that means is that people can't pay their mortgages and they lose their houses. What that means is that families are under huge financial stress and the marriages can break up. So if you've got people who are already significantly injured that are then thrown into poverty as a result of having their entitlements taken away, the outcome for that's sort of obvious. It's disastrous for the family.
We certainly see people who've lost houses, relationships. Some people even lose their lives because they can't cope with the reality that is living without the support of ACC.
You're telling me that people have even taken their lives because of ACC?
Mm.
Is it really that bad?
For some people it definitely is, yep.
Coming up.
I guess the argument is you do a lot of work for ACC.
I do a lot, yeah.
And that you are one of their favoured assessors.
Well, I don't know about that, but yes, I'll accept what you say.
You are referred to as the hatchet man.
Well, you see, that is also a perception of a few people.
That's next on 60 Minutes. The ACC has an alleged exit strategy. It has targets agreed with the government to reduce hundreds of long-term claimants every year. And the allegation is that one of the ways it's achieved those targets is by using certain doctors for its medical assessments. So Melanie Reid went to meet one of the corporation's